So the somatics the word somatics isn't the thing that we're doing. Somatics is it basically means connecting the mind and body. And I heard another teacher yesterday referring to somatics. She did a somatic shoulder exploration. I thought, oh, she's going to be doing all the stuff that we do in the lessons, you know, hugging things in and whatever. But all she did was just get you to notice and feel. And so it's just nice to know that, you know, whilst we might not be strictly saying, oh, let's go and do swimming shoulders, or we might not be doing a particular thing that I've been taught, that every movement that we're doing, it's just that connecting the movement to the brain, really, and learning about the body. And so I'd like to start. You can lay down if you want to. You can sit if you want to, and I will start. I will get you to sit up, and I want to go through that shoulder thing. So it was just a nice kind of thing to get to know about your body, really. So you make yourself comfortable. If you need to lie down, lie down. If you need to take a seat, take a seat. And if you're happy to close your eyes and check in on yourself. So I'm trying to give variations on the postures at the moment, because I know that some of us are unable to lay down for long periods of time, particularly if you're pregnant and stuff. So I'm trying to mix it up. So like if I've got other students who are watching these videos that don't come to these lessons. So just to let you know that I might do a lot of sitting, because I'm trying to demonstrate two ways. If you need to lie down, lay down. And go whichever way you feel is better. If you're closing your eyes again, just taking your focus into this physical self. Yeah, the soma is the mind body. Getting this snapshot in this present moment of how you are. And how you sense the physical self. So, curious attention more than anything. I don't need to think, oh, let me get the tape measure out or anything, but starting to picture from the base of the skull, the length of your neck, your ribs, the lower back. Picture where the spine meets the pelvis. And then you can picture your tailbone right at the end of your pelvis. Take that into your mind. So just feel that spine running through the body. Just picturing your skull sitting on top of the spine. If you were to open your eyes, would you be looking directly above you? Would you be looking to one side? Would you be looking slightly behind you? So just notice the position of your nose, your eyes and your chin. Take your focus to your left shoulder, to your right shoulder, to your left elbow, to your right elbow, to your left hand, and your right hand. Just picture the connections between the hand, the elbow, and the shoulders. And do both arms rest into the floor in exactly the same way, or are they both a little bit different to each other? And as we bring our focus down the spine a little bit further into the pelvis, and just picture your right hip, your right knee, your right ankle, your right foot, and the left hip, and the left knee, and the left ankle, and the left foot. You can join those together through the bones, get a good sense of the length and the weight. Again, do you feel those in different ways? Do you have any blind spots? Those blind spots are just, sometimes we might have had an injury, it might be that we've just got a certain way of walking or a certain way of being and we just don't even notice that part of the body. But, have a little check and sense. Do we feel those legs and those hips in exactly the same way? And even the feet. Bring your focus into the toes. Big toe on the left foot and the right foot. The next toe on each foot. The middle toe on each foot. The next toe on each foot. And the little toe on each foot. Then the sole of each foot. Does your attention go more willingly to one foot than the other? Just picturing the shape that you're making on the floor. So if you're laying down, it could be the outline. If you're sitting down, just notice how the body meets the floor. And then that actual space that you're taking up in the room, just picture yourself as a hollow. Just notice the shape that you are, the outline. And we can make that hollow nice and dense. Notice all the heavy parts of the body. Picture then your breath in the centre of it all. How does that feel? So whatever position you're in, whether you're laying down or you're sitting up, we're going to take our focus to our arms. One at a time, we're just going to take the right arm out in front of us and take it towards the space behind you, above your head, depending if you're sitting, and then bring it back down and drop it back down onto your lap or down onto the floor. And just do that a few times, raising the arm out in front of you and towards the space either above your head or onto the floor, whichever position you're in. And just watching it, noticing how you move. And if you were to bring the arm overhead, I want you to take your awareness into your shoulder. So, do you feel your shoulder doing anything in particular as you're moving the arm? Do you feel it kind of sliding down the back a little bit? Or is it fixed? You feel that you're just moving the arm and the shoulder isn't doing anything at all. So just, there's no right, there's no wrong. I just want you to picture how you sense the shoulder. Is it doing anything? And as you're taking this arm up and down, just noticing if the ribs are doing anything. Are the ribs invited into this? Do you feel any movement in the ribs at all? And you could then take the focus just to the spine itself. So as you bring the arm up, do you feel the spine doing anything? Some of us will feel the spine more than others as we're practicing this. As you're taking the arm overhead, you might feel that your ribs are arching to lift the arm up. And the ribs are arching because the spine is arching. It's trying to get that hand to where you want to take it. There's no right, there's no wrong, but just feel it and then we're going to let it go. Just let the arm drop, let everything relax and just let everything go. Oh, JavaScript, go away. And then take your focus over to your left hand, the opposite one, and just do the same thing, taking the arm up overhead towards the floor behind you, and again, maybe drop it, and again, bring it back down. Again, same thing, do we feel the face of the arm, notice the movement of the arm. And then into the socket of the arm, feeling where the arm meets the shoulder and the torso. And then tuning into the shoulder, is it doing anything? Do you feel that it sits on the ribs and is not really involved, or is the shoulder doing anything? Is it sliding down the back? Is it widening? And are the ribs doing anything? Are they widening? Are they arching? Is the spine arching? So for some of us, like I say, if you move the arms over to the space behind us, the ribs widen. And they arch because the spine is trying to get us to that destination. So there's no right, there's no wrong, it's just sensing. I'm just going to let the arms relax for a second. Again, just bring your focus into all the sensations you feel in the arms, all that energy we've released into the arms, into the shoulders in particular. And just picture the shoulders on the back. And this is just an invitation to you, really, just to think about these shoulders being connected to the arms. And so we can now begin to bring both arms up towards the space above us, into the floor behind you, and again, just let those ribs maybe become involved, maybe let the, but feel the shoulders as an extension of the arms. Let them grow down the back, let them grow wide to bring those arms back down by your side and tune into the movement of the shoulders. Feel them as an extension of the arms. And then let everything go, let your hands relax down by your side. Just feel again how the shoulders sit on the body. So let's take ourselves to seated, shall we? And we're going to start with some classic somatics. So I'm going to come into a seated sequence. It's all called the heart activation sequence. What I like about it, it's again about the hips, it's about the spine, and you get a really good sense, a palpable sense that you've created some space in the body. So I'm not concerned about how you sit. Some of us hate sitting like this. It's just not comfortable ever. So if you feel that you should be better with your legs out wide in front of you, do that. But I'm happy sitting this way. So that's how I'm going to sit. So find your sit bones, have a good play, have a little find a wiggle of your sit bones, find them on the floor, dropping your hands just down onto your knees, and then we're going to bring those hands just in front of us. And just feel for a second how you rest into the floor. And shoulders relaxed. And then take your gaze down to your fingers, and we're going to walk them forward. So as you walk them forward, because again for that connection to the shoulders, the spine starts to round. I'm going to just move back. I'm not taking off the camera. I'm going to go this way. We go to a natural end. So this is not the pose. Again, we don't really push or stretch during these lessons, but I am a bit spaghetti, so I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to a natural end. So notice where you come to a stop, and notice how it feels from the tailbone through the belly, through the shoulders to the neck. Then walking your hands back in and resting your hands down on your lap. On your knees even. So take your focus now to your pelvis and picture the sit bones, picture the pubic bone, picture the tailbone, and we're going to start to bring our weight to one side, curling the tailbone under, and then to the opposite side. So just picture that you're going to try to connect every part of the base of the pelvis into the floor. Just notice as you do that, you're starting actually to circle the top of the body. Taking your time, you are taking this as a lovely exploration. I love your adaptation now in the chair, fantastic. Again, it can be done sitting on the chair if you need to. And then we can go the other way. And I just like watching those spirals that we get from this movement. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm moving the pelvis, but what's happening above it? You've got ribs going in a lovely, almost kind of horizontal to the floor. And your chin is drawing a nice circle. Your elbows are drawing little circles. Do you notice the elbows doing little circles? Just picture, again, all this movement in the body and how it connects into the other movements in the body. let's just rest in the centre for a moment. I want you just to think maybe this time about leading with your head. So lead your head over to one side and then lead your head forwards. Lead your head the other side. Lead your head back to centre. Again, lead your head one way, lead your head forwards, lead your head to one side and lead yourself back to centre. Let your head circle hips, let your head circle the spine. It feels different, doesn't it? It feels really nice actually. It feels a little bit less rigid, I find. Again, circle the opposite direction. Lead with your head. Well, actually, that's a little bit easier to do, isn't it? It doesn't feel as tense. So find your sense of centre and just let your hand rest on your knees. And then start to undulate up the spine. So tuck your tailbone under this time. Feel how the front of the body shortens, the back of the body becomes a little bit longer. And then push your tailbone gently away from you. Imagine you can try to push your sit bones back towards the wall behind you and let your spine float up. And then again, tucking your tailbone down and under the body. And again, let your spine relax down, drop your chin towards your chest very gently. And again, think about your sit bones moving to the wall behind you. And this is going to let your spine begin to lift. So it's all about foundations. You can imagine that obviously wherever your tailbone is, your spine's going to be trying to accommodate it somewhere in between. I've never actually tried this. Let's just rest in the centre, and as we did with our hips before, can we make our head make the hips move? So like it's a complete guinea pig moment, you might completely fail. So look down towards, imagine you want to look into your belly button. Try your best to look into your belly button. You go, oh, I can feel the spine beginning to round. Peer in as much as you can to your belly button, and then look up. If I look along the floor, look along the wall, and look up to the ceiling. Let your heart begin to lift. And then again, looking down the ceiling, looking down the wall, looking down the floor. Again, imagine you want to really look into your belly button. And then again, looking along the floor, looking along the wall, looking along the ceiling. Again, to let your spine begin to lift. Again, different sensations, different ways of moving. I've done this in cat-cow, but I've never tried it sitting. Then let's just come to neutral. So just think about resting down through sit bones. I want you to rock backwards and forwards and just think about trying to find that little place between where you neither roll into tailbone or roll into the pubic bone. And just feel your spine sitting up in the middle. And then we're going to go from side to side. So let's look at our right shoulder, and I want you to squeeze, draw that shoulder blade down and squeeze it in. So for some reason, when I do this, I imagine I've got like a bagpipe under that shoulder and I'm squeezing it in. I hope we don't start to have that sound of a bagpipe, but anyway, so squeeze it in. And feel how as you do that, that shoulder tightens and the ribs and the hips come closer together. And then so feel those muscles working, and then we're just going to let them go, come back to centre. So again, picture you've got that bagpipe and you want to make it make that horrible squealing sound. Squeeze it. I hope there's no bagpipe if you're watching this eventually thinking, but they're beautiful. Shoulder drops down, and again, just relax it. And again, squeeze it. Shoulder drops down. Feel the shortening sensation. Again, relax it. Actually, I do know somebody who plays some fantastic bagpipes. I was picturing myself playing the bagpipes. It would not sound good. Relaxing the right side for a second, look into your left side, and again picture those bagpipes. Squeeze it in, and again feel those muscles on that left side contracting, ribs come closer, and again relax it away. So what we're doing is just tightening those muscles, it's a pandiculation, we're creating tension, and then just letting that tension melt away. So again, squeeze it, feel what it's doing, and again, just let everything go. Squeeze it, feel what everything's doing on that left side, and then again, let everything go. And then let's relax to center. So just for one more little thing, we're going to take our feet out in front of us and sweep them over to one side. So I've got my feet just by the right, so I think you're sitting in a chair like that. So you've got your feet, I would say you're sitting on a chair, if you can feel that your left buttock is on that chair, well obviously your right as well, but feel that left buttock, so your feet are swept, go by the right. And yeah, placing your right hand on your left ear. So over the top of the head, hold the ear, and your left hand is just by your side, just so you don't feel that you're going to topple basically. And so we're now going to connect the head to the hips. I mean, it is, isn't it? But mentally. So closing your eyes. I just want you to think about taking your left ear to your left shoulder. And then try to take your right ear to your right shoulder. Taking your left ear to your left shoulder. And your right ear to your right shoulder. So do we feel something happening in the ribs? Do we feel that as you take that left ear towards the left shoulder, your right ribs start to open? And as you take your right ear to your right shoulder, that right side begins to close. And we can start doing something really, really nice. Start to think about your right hip being nice and light as a feather. So as you bring your left ear towards your left shoulder, we feel that right hip dropping into the floor, feeling a little bit heavier. But as we take the right ear towards the right shoulder, just allow that right hip to begin to float up and maybe a little bit forwards. We're kind of shortening again that right side. And then again, take your time just to relax away and feel the right hip begin to drop into the floor as we take our left ear towards our left shoulder. And again, as you take the right ear towards the right shoulder, let your right hip float up. Again, as you take your left ear towards your left shoulder, the right hip begins to sink down. It might now be doing it magically without you even asking it. But your head is in charge of your hips. Clever, clever, clever head, isn't it? Okay, just working in ways that feel nourishing. We're not pushing into pain, so I don't want you to feel you've got a yank on your head. The hand is there just so you can connect really the head to that right rib. Whenever we want to, let's have a little rest, shall we? And take that hand down. Take a moment just to rest and center and feel your right side for a moment. Just check in on how you sense the right side, the shoulder, the ribs, even the face. Does it feel a little bit different to the left side? So let's take our feet across to the left this time. So again, find that comfortable way for them to be. And you've got your right hand on the floor or on your chair, wherever you are. And again, you're just checking that your knee's comfortable. You could maybe adjust that leg, but it might just be that, actually, yeah, if you have the leg straight and you're doing this movement, it might be that you kind of feel that the knee rolls rather than anything. It's a little bit heavier, but again, that might be a nice little adaptation if your knee doesn't like being in this position. So then your left hand is over on your right ear, so it's gone overhead. And again, focusing on your right ear, take your ear towards your right shoulder. And then take your left ear towards your left shoulder. And taking your right ear again, slowly towards your right shoulder. And taking it slowly towards your left shoulder. And just kind of get to sense the weight of the head. And how we get to feel that movement in the ribs. So that left side starting to do some nice, getting some space through those ribs. And you can invite that left hip into it. So again, just picture it becoming like a feather or a stone. So we can take the right ear towards the right shoulder and just think about that left hip hanging heavy. And then as we take the left ear towards the left shoulder, allow it just to curl itself up. It's actually rolling forwards a little bit. And then let that hip stay heavy and drop into the floor. Again, we're taking the ear towards the shoulder, let the hip begin to lift. Again, taking the right ear towards the right shoulder and feeling how we get that space through the left side. And again, just take your time, explore. Again, nourishing movements. Again, we're not pulling on the head, that hand is there just so we can connect the head to the ribs. So whenever you're ready, come to seated. Bringing your feet again in front of you. Just check in again, this time on that left side. How do we sense the left side? How do we feel the arc of that left side body? Again, checking sensations in the face. It's funny because I mentioned the right side and the sensations in the face. I've been to the dentist and I could feel something weird in that right side. I thought, oh, that actually could just be the Novocaine. But actually I can feel things in that left side, so it's just reassuring that I'm not leading you down a false path. But you know, it's just interesting why the energy that we have in the body flows and what we begin to recognise as we practice. So from this place, we're going to come back to the posture we came to initially. So we're going to drop our fingertips just into the floor in front of us. And slowly begin to walk your hand down forwards. And just notice whether or not this is a clearer movement, or is it, if you come a little bit further down, have we created some space just very naturally without really trying in the body. Just hang out there for a few moments if that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, then you can obviously come back and take a seat. So let us find our way to seated, shall we? And again, if you wish to lie down, have a lie down. If you're happy to sit, take a seat. And just again, check in on how you feel from within. And now for my next trick. It's not really a trick. There's something that I'd like to do next, and it is lying down, but again, it's one of those moving ones, so we shouldn't be staying on our back. So, are you okay being on your back again? Yeah, okay. So I will show it you, and then so you get a good sense of it. And what I love about this, again, it connects the hips, it connects the shoulders, connects the spine, it connects everything together really, and you end up getting a really lovely little back bend in the middle of this. So I need to lay this way, I've got more space on my leg here. If I'm camera still, right, okay. So this is my right leg, hello. This is my right arm, hello. And then they're on the floor. So I've got my right knee bent, and I've just itching my nose, dentist making my nose tingle. Got my arms down by my side, and then all we're going to do is push the right foot into the floor and feel your pelvis turn. So you kind of start to lean into your left side body, and then we relax back down. So we're going to do that a few times. Then we're going to just do something weird with the arms. So the right hand is going to go into the floor just behind us, elbow's going to point to the ceiling, and then I get nowhere with this. So this is not about a matter of strength. I'm just pushing to the floor and just feel again that connection between the hand and the shoulder. My left shoulder, you wouldn't even see me moving. I'm really weak on my left shoulder because I injured it years ago, but it's just, again, feeling that. Then we're going to visualize the elbow, the hip, the shoulder, and then we're going to roll. And then from this, there is an opportunity to slide your left heel under. And then there's another opportunity as we roll, to keep your head on the floor and try to look to your hands. And then slide it back. So again, that you don't have to do that, but if it's comfortable, this is where you get that little back extension. So again, it's a really nice arch of the spine, and then we're going to rest, picture, and then do the opposite side. So this is what I thought I'd show you, just in case you thought, I'm not sure about that. So shall we lay down and get comfy? So laying down on your back with your left leg straight and your right leg bent. And so, yeah, I'd like to start to move because obviously I don't want you to feel that you have to stay here for too long. So picture your right foot, you've got your right knee pointing to the ceiling, your arms are just resting down by your side, and then we're going to push that right foot into the floor. And notice as you do that, your pelvis begins to tip to the left, and your belly begins to roll to the left. And if you want to, you can even turn your head to look in the direction of travel, and then relax that foot, relax the hip, and allow yourself to settle into the floor. So again, you're pushing the foot into the floor, you feel your pelvis begin to turn to the left, maybe let your nose turn to the left, and keep your right shoulder on the floor. And then again, just do that a couple of times, keeping your knee pointing. Notice as you're pushing, your knee is actually moving away from you. Okay, just do that a few times. Feel your footprint. Notice what your big toe is doing. Notice what your little toe is doing. Notice what your heel is doing. And you might start to notice that it might be very, very nice indeed, as you're pushing that right foot, to let your head roll to the right. And then as you come back down to earth, just to let your nose again begin to point to the ceiling or to the sky. So you push into the floor and notice as you do that, your nose turns to the right and the shoulder. Again, settle back down, coming back to center. So just play with that sensation, pushing into the foot and turning your nose to the right so that your head roll with it. Just notice as you're doing this that also as you're pushing into that foot, your right side is shortening, but your left side is lengthening. And then let's come to center and just relax. So we're going to place now this right hand on the floor just by your right ear. So have a little play, get the fingers to connect in some way. And just briefly push into the floor and just see if you can feel that push finding its way to the shoulder. So this push it's a source of energy. As you push into the floor, there's a rebound, it comes up into the body, and you might feel that shoulder begin to turn a little bit. And then we're going to just relax and stay here just briefly. And all I want you to do is picture from your right foot an energy coming up through the floor into your knee, into your hip, along the spine to the shoulder, to the elbow, to the wrist, and into the hand. Just picture that just a few times in your mind's eye. The foot, the knee, the hip, the spine, the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist. And then through the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, the spine, the hip, the knee, the hip, and the foot. And then together, the foot and the hand, the knee and the hip, and the elbow and the shoulder, and then down the spine again, the hip, the shoulder, the elbow, the knee, the hand and the foot. Feel that energy. And then we're just going to begin to just gently push down into the floor, push down into the hands, keep your head on the floor, and can you roll yourself to the left? And then whenever you're ready, just take your time to uncurl and roll yourself back down onto your back. Again, that push of the hand. Roll yourself, that's it, to the left, so let your knee turn, that's it, let your hip turn, so we're keeping the head on the floor. So you're only going as far as feels comfortable. Lovely movement, everybody. Excuse me. So just notice as you're doing this that your elbow and your knees are moving away from each other and your ribs are actually moving away from your pelvis. Just for a moment, bring your focus to that. Ribs moving away from the pelvis. We're creating that space through the ribs. And then let's just add in that little bit, shall we? So as you push yourself to the left gently, slide your head back under your elbow and look towards your right hand. It might not be that you look at your right hand, you might be looking at your elbow, and then slide your head back and lay back down. So again, it's that push into the hands and the foot and you roll, and then slide your head back, look to maybe the elbow, maybe look all the way to the hand or the wrist. Slide your head back And again, take a little rest. And do it again if you want. Have a little rest if you don't want. And maybe on this next one, as you're looking under the arms, slide your left heel towards your right foot. And then slide that left foot back and return to centre. And then we're going to pause. So just stepping your right leg away, bring your hands down by your side. And just rest for a moment. So if you need to change position, maybe just place your hands behind you and push yourself to seated. Give yourself a little bit of a posture break. So if you need to sit up, sit up. If you're happy to stay down, sit down. And just feel how the body finds the floor. Okay, do we feel ourselves kind of spreading out? Maybe the shoulders connect to the floor differently, maybe the hips connect to the floor differently. So from this place, we're going to step our left foot in. So again, both legs straight to start with, and step your left foot in. And have your hands again just by your side. And again, just feel as you push into your left foot that you begin to roll towards the right. So notice your pelvis rolls, your chest rolls. Maybe you'll look to the right as well. And take your time to come back down again. So this isn't, it's not about the destination. A lot of this to me is about the journey. It might even be that you just want to come part way up and come part way down. So that's often quite nice. Not even to go into the full movement, but just to see if we can make that first part of it easier. The lightest way we can maybe even press into that foot to feel that connection into the hip. And then maybe just press that a little bit deeper and notice how easily we can roll to the right. And it might just be nice just to let the head fall to the left. Roll to the left, taking that into the neck. And then feeling as we do that, how that right side lengthens, the left side shortens, and again, taking that time just to explore that as a movement. Pushing into that left foot, journeying to the right, but looking to the left shoulder. And all the while, we're keeping that knee standing up. So if you notice the knee's going, it's just not going to feel as, I think, as pleasurable as having the knee pointing to the ceiling. And keep the knee pointing to the ceiling. And then when you're ready, settle into centre. And then we're going to take that left hand and place it just again on the ground, just above the left shoulder, just by the left ear. Again, find a way of connecting the hand into the floor. And again, we're just going to keep the hips quiet, don't let them be involved. Just push into the floor a little bit and see how we feel the hands connecting to the shoulder. Do we feel that rib trying to lift up a little bit? My goodness, that one feels like a rock to me. Feel the head kind of resisting in the floor, very odd. Then relax, and we're going to then just visualize again. So from the foot, feel and just sense an energy flowing from the foot into the knee into the hip into the spine, along to the shoulder, and then into the elbow and into the wrist and down into the floor. And again, just another time, picture from the foot, the knee, the hip, the spine, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and the hand. And then the other way from the hand, through the wrist, to the elbow, to the shoulder, down the spine, to the hip, the knee and the foot. And then a simultaneous energy from the foot and the hand, through the knee and the elbow, into the shoulder and the hip, crossing along the spine, and then travelling back down into the foot and the hand. And then whenever you're ready, pushing into both places and allow yourself to roll to the right. Again, let your nose go with it, and just take your time again just to explore that sensation of how easy it is to roll. It might be that you notice that your foot is doing a lot of that work and the arm is just encouraging, just helping the roll. Again, we're not pushing ourselves into terror or anything like that, so just you're going as comfortably as you wish. Or having a rest. I can see someone having a rest. Well done. So if you want to, as you do this position, slide your head back and take a look at your left elbow, maybe your left wrist. And then slide your head again back onto space, and again relaxing centre, and again pushing into the foot. See how you feel about rolling and looking towards the elbow and the wrist. If you're finding the arm bit a little bit too challenging or too tiring, we can just maybe do one foot and just not bother with the arm. So again, you could just maybe come back to just that very first position. See where it travels in the body. And then whenever you're ready, have a little rest. Just relax yourself down onto your back. And just picture how this left side now meets the floor. Through the shins, through the thighs, through the hips and the shoulder. So let's move over onto our side. So I think it's the left side that you're meant to lie on, isn't it? I think you're pregnant. You think I know, but it's 10 years ago now. I think usually we lay. I think you're allowed to lay on your left side, not your right, isn't it? I've forgotten the day it is, yeah, because I think it's when you lay, yeah, when normally in yoga to learn your right side, I think it's to protect your heart, but it's the other way around. So we're going to lay on the good side for you, so we're going to lay on our left side. And so you might do this twice, rather than laying over, so I don't want you to do anything that's going to cause you any damage, really. So this is a twist. What we're going to do next, and so laying on your left side, you've got your knees bent. You can have a cushion, obviously, if you need a cushion. They're always good, aren't they, cushions? If you need a cushion, get it under your head. Excuse me, in a twist, we're going to roll backwards. So I have it just slightly behind, maybe, towards the space behind you rather than in front of your face, so that you've got something to lay on. And then you settle down. So I'm going to take my glasses off, and I need to get really close to this camera. You have to see this off, I am. Anyway, so your left arm is laying on the floor in front of you, and you've got your knees bent, your feet together, and have your feet kind of tucked underneath your pelvis. And then here's your right hand, and I want you just to place it on your breastbone, so just in the centre of your ribs, and then drop the elbow to rest on your rib cage, so you've got that arm nice and relaxed. But this hand is there for a reason. It's to tell you where your nose is. So just notice right now that your fingertips are lined up with your nose. And so this twist, it's going to do 3 parts of the spine. So this is the lower half of the spine. And all we're going to do now is begin to roll our ribs backwards towards the floor, and stop wherever it feels comfortable. You're going to try to keep your nose lined up with fingers, so don't turn your head to look to the space behind you. You're going to keep that nose neutral with fingers, and then whenever you want to, roll back onto your side. And then again, rolling yourself backwards. So again, keep your nose in line with your breastbone. And you might notice that your knees are doing little things as you're doing this. You might notice your knees are sliding. You might notice your knees are parting. But what I don't want you to do is to roll completely onto your back. So keep those hips weighted to one side. That's it. And you just come into a natural conclusion. Lovely. So just come into that natural conclusion. And now start to notice as well what's happening to your left arm. You're actually rolling further away from that left arm, aren't you? And as you roll onto your side, you're moving all around that shoulder again, as we did earlier. And so again, identifying that separateness of the shoulders, seeing it as an attachment to the arm. So when you're ready, next, take yourself back onto your left side. And then I don't know if you've ever done, if this is your natural thing, but if you've ever forgotten something, you might put your hand on your palm on your forehead, and you've got your fingertips, and just maybe just bring them so they're resting on the top of your skull. So your palms, centre of your forehead, fingers on your skull. And again, we're laying down, and we're going to look this time to our right elbow. So slowly taking your right elbow towards the ceiling, and this is going to roll you backwards, and keep gazing at your elbow and take it again to wherever you feel that is a good place to stop. So now you are turning the nose, you are turning the head, and then bringing the elbow back up towards the ceiling, bring it to the floor in front of you and rolling again to sit. And have a little rest between two of these. So I don't want you to think that you need to, like, you know, do as many of these as you want. Maybe just do a few. You're bringing the elbow up and you're rolling and you're taking that gaze to the elbow. And again, rolling back and taking yourself back down. Just noticing as we're doing this, we are moving that twist that little bit further up the spine, so you might feel this more around the shoulders this time. And as you're rolling back, you're just noticing what's happening around that left shoulder. We're moving all around that left shoulder capsule, aren't we? And it might even be nice as you roll back onto your side that you drop that elbow, the right elbow, into the floor and turn your head and create some beautiful sensations in the left shoulder. And again, rolling back. I'm going to let go of my cushions. Cushions are nuisance. Just let your head roll with it. And again, your knees are going to be sliding, maybe your knees are going to be lifted, but don't roll all the way onto your back. So again, we're keeping this as a twist. And so taking yourself back onto your side, and we're going to change hand positions. So this time, imagine that you're really stressed, and you've got your, well, you're not stressed, you better not be. You've got your hands and you've rested it on your forehead, and you've got your fingertips just over towards your left temple this time. And this again is just going to change the shape of this twist. So again, looking with your eyes as opposed to looking with your nose, I suppose, towards your right elbow, and start to bring that right elbow back towards the space behind you and look with it. And then lifting the elbow up, and again looking with the eyes, feeling the head turning in space, feeling your spine revolving through the body. And again, take the elbow into the floor, and maybe even roll up to the floor and look under the body. And then start again to unroll. Take the elbow back and keep looking at the elbow and just feeling actually bringing that elbow back, that the head is turning, the spine is twisting through the center of the body. And again, these knees are doing some wonderful little things. They're sliding, maybe they're lifting. So feeling that rib cage rotating. Spend some time feeling this rib cage rotating. And then spend some time again in that left shoulder, how the body is moving around the left shoulder. It might very well be that you want to stay in this twist. So if you do it. Maybe keep the elbow bent and drop it to the floor, and just take a good time just to rest in this moment and relax the jaw. And then from this place, slide your feet forwards and let your legs rest into the floor and lay on your back for a moment, and just check in on this, on this side of the body, how it feels. So repeating that, obviously, because I think it's if whether or not you want to be comfortable on the opposite side. Maybe you're happy to do it, okay. You don't have to, you can do the same side. Moving to the opposite side, so bringing yourself onto your right side, and you've got your fingertips on the breastbone, elbow dropping down onto your ribs. Again, if this feels unsafe, we can do this as a seated posture. Maybe we could just do a different twist altogether if you don't want to do this on that right side. I just want you to be comfortable with it. So again, we start with the hand on the breastbone, if you are going to start with this one, and the elbows relaxed. And again, you're bringing that shoulder blade softly back and noticing, keeping the head in line with the chest. And again, rolling yourself back onto your side. And again, turning the chest, and you're keeping the nose in line with the breastbone, so let the left shoulder roll back towards the floor. Again, rolling yourself back. It does work as a seated twist if you want to adapt. So just churning the chest, and again, keeping that nose. So it's all about having that awareness of where the head and the nose is. So again, this one works that lower half of the body. You might feel it just above the belly button. So in terms of function of the spine, that lower part of the spine is more about bending and extending, and this little bit is all about twisting. So again, if you did want to adapt it, we sit in and we're bringing the shoulder back and feeling again, keeping that nose in line with breast growth. Let's come back to centre and have a little rest. And then we're going to take the forehead to the hand, the hands to the forehead. So again, imagine, oh, I've forgotten something. So you don't have to slap your head, but that's what I do. So you've got your head, hand on the forehead, fingertips in the hairline. And then this time looking at your elbow. So bringing that elbow back towards the space behind you and noticing how you turn. Again, rolling back onto your side. And again, it's that sense that, you know, you're looking with your eyes, the head is now beginning to turn. So this is, again, sensing the neck into the ribs, into the chest, into the spine. And again, just notice what the hips are doing. Notice as you're doing this what the knees are doing. So I'm now going to lie that down onto the floor because if you wanted to adapt it, then there's that adaptation. And look through the eyes. Again, get that sense of the rib cage turning in space, that rib cage turning in space, and what is happening in the right shoulder. I guess we're not on that back on the side of the body too long, are we? So it's a nice moving practice. So we're not putting too much weight through that right side. Again, feeling through the right shoulder, how we move around that shoulder blade. So again, get a good sense that shoulder is definitely part of the arm, not attached to the ribs. And again, just resting again on your side. So again, this time imagine, you know, you've got your palm on your forehead, fingertips just by your right temple. And again, looking at the elbow. Let's drop the elbow into the floor first and turn your head under, so you're looking kind of towards the floor. And then we're going to lift the left elbow up towards the ceiling, and this is going to start to roll us back. So again, drop the elbow towards the space behind, looking at the elbow. And then again, lift the elbow up, roll it back towards the ceiling, again back over and to the right. And again, feeling this clever elbow is turning this whole body, isn't it? This elbow is creating the space through the ribs, through the shoulders. Again, feeling the spine turning through the center of the body. Feeling the rib cage turning in space. And that beautiful look of the head towards the elbow again, just feeling what the head is doing, noticing the journey of the head. You can almost kind of think about giving your head a massage on the floor, find another part for that head to meet the floor. And if it's comfortable to do so, let's let ourselves rest in this position, taking your arm away from the body, let the shoulder fall back. Whenever you're ready, take yourself just quietly. I'd say onto your back, but we're going to do something on our sides as our meditation today. So pick your favourite side is what I'm going to ask you to do. So I guess if you're pregnant, it's going to be your left side. If you're not, whatever side you want. And we're going to have our knees bent. So it's an embryonic movement, actually, this one. And yeah, so again, push under your head if you need to. You've got your feet. Is your feet bent? They're not feet bent, are they? Your knees are bent. You've got your feet tucked underneath your hips, and you're laying. I just feel like I'm constantly in darkness on your side. And have your hands together. I'll sit up actually just to get the position right. So just imagine that I'm like that. I'm sitting on the side. So your hands are together, and interlace your fingers, and just let your elbows rest as comfortably together as you can. So you're laying on your side, your feet are just tucked underneath your hips, and just like as though you're going to go to sleep. And what I'd like you just to do is, as you take an inhale, just bring your elbows slightly away from your body. And as you take an exhale, let your elbows come quietly and softly into your chest. And as you take an inhale, taking your elbows just gently away from the body. And as you take an exhale, let them come just quietly into the chest. inhale, taking just gently away. So we're not going into big movement, it's just the quietest of movements. And as you do that, do you feel that movement at the tailbone, that it feels nice, just maybe to push your tailbone gently back as you inhale. And as you exhale, just to bring, tuck your tailbone slightly under. And as you inhale, just gently pressing your tailbone away from you. And as you exhale, bring in the tailbone, just curling it gently under as you bring the ribs, the elbows in towards the ribs. And again, inhaling, taking the tailbone gently away. And exhaling, bringing the elbows and the tailbone in. And we can just rest with this for a moment, but I'm just going to throw another little thing at you. If you just picture your feet now, just picture your feet. And just imagine that your feet are just resting on a little wall at the end, just beneath, at the end of the mat. And just for a moment, just pause and just rest and just imagine that if you were to push into those feet, what would happen to the body above it? So if you were to push down into that wall with your feet, would you feel a push travelling up through the body, through the knees to the hips and into the ribs? And just imagine relaxing the feet. So if you're not sure how a little looks, so I'm just imagine pushing into the floor, into that wall with my feet, and I can feel my tailbone just sliding back and my spine being pushed up through the body, and then I'm just relaxing. And I'm just timing that with the breath, so with the in-breath pushing gently into the feet, and then the out-breath just relaxing. Inhaling, pushing gently into the feet. And exhale, just relax. And just let the breath be as soft and as natural as it usually is. Just don't push the breath. We're not doing any pranayama. Just getting the sense that your whole body is just breathing. Feeling your belly, feeling your diaphragm. Just letting go of the sensation of pushing. Just let your breath, your whole body breathe. And just letting go of that if that feels comfortable, or just keep with the sensations. So let's begin to move to seated. So placing your hands into the floor, pushing yourself carefully up. Crazy enough the hair. Last day, I shall just end that recording.